Hello everyone, welcome to week 2. We are going to talk about metacognition this week, and more simply it's a much longer word than it should be for just learning how to learn, being aware of how you take in information, how you best learn it. So this is an opportunity to kind of reflect and see what works for you. So this week we're going to go through some activities on reflecting on that information. Make sure that you can take advantage of the discussion this week so that we can bounce around these ideas as we get through um, uh, a very, very important foundation for the rest of the course. As you can see here, I've outlined a couple of definitions. It's simply taking a look at what you know, what you don't know, and what you need to know. These are all questions that you're probably asking yourself on a daily basis about various topics, and this is an opportunity to really kind of put a name to it and to delve a little deeper into it. Um, so we break it into 3 different areas that we're looking for outcomes in. Really look at what knowledge, skills, and strategies we have out there. I'm going to focus a great deal, particularly with the critical thinking piece, on the strategies that will come along with improving your metacognitive ability. So the strategies to help you become a better learner, and being able to delve into that information up to an application level. Um, these are ideas that we want to be able to master by the end. So take a quick note of these. Remember, as we're on an online course, you can always reference this back anytime you have questions, but these are the areas that we're going to touch on. So let's talk about the steps of metacognition. First, what we want, what you know now, right? This is a reflective, maybe in elementary school or high school, a teacher may have done a KWL chart, and that idea of knowledge. What do we already know? And people sometimes overlook this, but it is the easiest piece to becoming a quality learner because it allows us to gain connections with the new material. The more new material that we have to make connections to something that we already know. And if we can do that, then it moves into working memory and long-term memory a lot easier. So what do we already know? What skills do we have? How have we used it in the past? Where can we find answers, etc. is very, very important. Um, Knowing what you don't know is the second step. Now, sometimes if you're anything like me, there's a very long list of things that we don't know. All right, I think that's part of being a human, part of being in this world, that there's always things out there that we don't know, but we have to narrow our focus onto what do we want to know and how far can we get there. So what strategies do we need to know? Where do we need to find it? Excuse me. Um, that's the important piece. And knowing what you need to know now, where do we find it? You know, what strategies will work best? Where can we narrow it down? That's where we can really focus. All right. So what you know, analyzing your knowledge. All right. This is sometimes a quick process for us. As the information becomes more complicated, this process gets longer because we have to have a foundation. And some instances you'll walk into a new class, a new curriculum, where you don't have a lot of prior knowledge, or you think you don't. Um, this is where you can become very astute as to how much you know and how much you don't. And the least or the less you know, the more you have to ask questions. Um, what you don't know, very closely connected, but what must you acquire to be successful is the question that I like to focus on here. Um, where are you going? What's your goal? And in week 1, we talked about goal setting and having SMART goals. Well, now we're starting to, now that we have that goal, how do we get there? We're paving our way. What skills and knowledge do you have to acquire to be able to get there, and how do we use that knowledge in quote unquote strategies to get there. All right, and what do you need to know? Determine what you have to do to successfully complete the task. All right, and for instance, you're talking about making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? We have to get the items out: bread, peanut butter, jelly, something to spread the material with. Those are all steps in the task, and we have to figure out what order, how you put them together, how does it all make it work. Do you put too much peanut butter on, too much jelly? Those kinds of things all become part of successfully completing the task. What information do you need? How do you gain that information? This is that process of metacognition. And these are processes that you all do on a daily basis, whether you think about them or not. But now we're actually going to use those strategies to become stronger learners. So let's reflect. A key aspect of metacognition is reflecting on your choices. Okay, you make your choices, you've gone through your process, you've implemented your strategies, but did they work? Did they work at the level you want them to work? Did they get you to your goal? Were you at the highest level of your goal that you wanted? Those are the types of questions you have to start to ask yourself, because remember, metacognition is learning how to learn. And the only way that that learning process happens is if you reflect, and then you reevaluate, and you go back to your goals. Just like in week one, we talked about that assessment process and making sure that our goals are on track and keeping us on track. That same process is being employed here when we're reflecting. So that wraps us up. We are now going to start to think about how do we use this information, metacognition, to making us stronger, more successful students. I hope this has helped out. Use the discussion boards. There will be a question on metacognition and how you've employed it to this point, and how will you change that moving forward based on this new knowledge. So use that discussion board to start discussing and delving into this information a little deeper. Anytime you have questions, hit me up. Have a great week.